and today I will be making a no-bake eggplant parmesan. Warn you now, this is not for the people that do not like cheese. This is not for people that have high blood pressure or are not used to salty food. This will give you quite the dehydration afterwards, so warning you now. Now, so what I have over here are 2 eggplants, and I've cut them rather thinly. I have more of a, I would say, butterflied these eggplants, so you can see that they're connected, but then they have their little shells, so to speak. I cut them thinner that way because this way I like, number 1, layers in an eggplant parm, and number 2, I like the way that it cooks up. Something about the way the texture is, for me, you just taste the difference when it's cut up like this rather than thicker strips. So what we're going to do is we're going to dredge it in flour, and then we're going to go into the egg wash, toss it in some breadcrumbs, and that is your basic station for breading the eggplant parm. And then you're going to want to let them go into your skillet. And again, this is a no-bake eggplant parm, so there will be no oven. And the reason, or I should say the inspiration for this dish, was 3 years ago when I was first starting to really cook. My mother wouldn't let me into the kitchen because, number 1, I made too much of a mess. Number 2, it took me 30 minutes to do the simplest of dishes. So she used to tell me to get my ass out the kitchen unless I could cook quicker. So one day I was over at my best friend's house, and her mom was making, it was over the summertime, which means no oven in my house. No oven whatsoever. If you use the oven, you get shot. So what happened was I was over at my friend's house, and she decided to show me how her mom makes her chicken parmesan. She makes it in the skillet, just like this pretty much, except for chicken. So I told her, I was like, well, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to try to make my own little recipe from it. So that's how I got with the whole inspiration of no bake. And then individually have these random things like butterfly and the eggplant parm came about was about a year ago when me and my friends were all we all had our own little apartments, so we all decided to become our own little chefs. So everyone was kind of having contests. We had, banana bread contests and pancake contests. So one day we had an eggplant contest, and this got some pretty good reviews from many people that don't even like eggplant. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Now it also, because it's so thin, the eggplant, and because we're not baking it, we're just rather frying it, it will cook up rather quickly. And also, you don't have to use small chunks if you don't like it. If you like more symmetrical pieces, the bigger pieces, that's what I usually like to use. So we're just going to dredge this all together. And then we're going to make a single layer on the bottom of the pan as well. Don't like to overcrowd it too much. And they're only going to have to cook a few minutes per side, really. And they also I know some people like a crunchy eggplant parm. I tend to make it more moist because of the sauce that it sits in. And another thing is, some people don't like the skins of the eggplant. I personally like the flavor, I like the texture. If you don't like the skins, by all means, take off the skins. Also, if you don't like the breadcrumbs, I'm using plain breadcrumbs. You can use Italian breadcrumbs. Now, I also, so you guys know about measurements, I have 3 eggs here for the egg wash with 2 tablespoons of water. I have about ½ a cup or so of flour and ½ a cup or so of the breadcrumbs as well. Don't be afraid to squish them in a little bit. They're not, they're not claustrophobic. They're not going to file a complaint against you. So, and by all means, if you wanted to do rather something else like a zucchini or a squash of sorts for this parm, that also works as well because anything fried is good. So it doesn't really matter what you fry. Fry rat tails and it'll turn out good sometimes. You'd be surprised. Alright, so I'm going to leave it now in this pan, this layer. And now this time we had a little extra, so don't be afraid to save that for a salad if you'd like. Now we're going to flip them over onto the other side to cook. And what we're going to do is once we flip them over, we're going to wait about a minute or so, and we're going to stick the sauce in with it to cook. And the sauce will finish cooking in with the eggplant as well. And everything is all in one dish. You serve it in here, you cook it in here, you clean up afterwards, same dish. So, little mess. Minus the dredging and breading. Now we just let it sit for another minute or so. And then I also have here half a cup of Parmesan cheese. So we're going to, again, this is all part of the cheesy experience. And I have about a pound of mozzarella cheese. Feel free to use less, more, different cheeses, etc., etc. You know the drill. And what we're going to do now is take your favorite canned sauce, or if you have a homemade sauce that you prefer to make, by all means do that. It might come out a little watery, so I quit that. Quit that after, you know, what it was, $100 in making sauce. I was good. So just stick to the canned stuff, and you just want to cover it, thin layer. I would say just until the top of the eggplant is covered. That one can will do the trick. Now I coated the bottom of the pan with about a quarter cup of oil, and I do have a little extra oil here that I do like to drizzle around the top, just because I think it adds a little bit more shine and a little flavor around the eggplant. So just a few tablespoons go over. That's a little something extra that I do though. And now the next step that you're going to do is, while this is all cooking and simmering in the sauce, you're going to start adding all the cheese. So you got the Parmesan cheese. Now I have about here half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Feel free to add more or less if you'd like. We're just going to sprinkle that all around the top. And then we're going to add about a pound of mozzarella cheese, which is about the whole bag. Again, if you're using more eggplant, less eggplant, you might adjust it however you'd like. And this will feed, you know, roughly 6 to 7 people, depending on how you decide to cut it. And it can also be served in an eggplant parmigiano, or you can have it with pasta of your choosing. I don't want to overdo you guys here with all the cheese. I know you're not used to it. And that's about it. Now you just let it cover. You cover it and let the steam cook up the cheese. And when the cheese is all melted, everything's all pretty much done. All right, and that's about it.